You know what's funny? All of us that was watching in 2016 when Donald Trump ran the first time that were acutely aware that Hillary Clinton is a criminal. We could see this. We could see it happening then, and we saw it never stop. We thought it never stopped.
About Trump-Russian collusion.
Fabricated evidence, and they lied to the courts, and they did all sorts of things to have it go their way. And this was something that we can never allow to happen again. The report actually, and especially when you look into it, and the details of the report are far worse than anything I would have even imagined. What they were doing and what they would have done if I didn't make a certain move that was a very important move, because it would have been even worse if that's possible. And they might have been able to succeed. This was an overthrow of government. This was an attempted overthrow, and a lot of people were in on it, and they got caught. They got caught red-handed. And I look forward to the Durham Report, which is coming out in the not-too-distant future. It's got his own information, which is this information plus. And it's an incredible thing that happened, and we're lucky we caught him. I think I'm going to put this down as one of our great achievements, because what we found and what we saw, never, ever should this happen again.
Now have black and white evidence that the FBI interfered in the 2016 election. And then when they failed to get their candidate elected, Hillary Clinton, then they just set out to destroy the Trump administration. So then go up to 2020. It was the CIA this time that got involved.
Let's not forget the two impeachments where Victoria Nuland from the State Department was leaking on our president. You know, the one that overthrew the lawfully elected government of Ukraine and put Zelensky
in the 2020 election with those 51 former intel agents who talked about the Hunter Biden laptop as total Russian disinformation. So they've gotten away with it for 2 elections. They're for sure going to get away with it, try to get away with it in 24, right? Because there's no consequence. The difference is in 2024, the evidence is there. We now have the Durham investigation. We have all the congressional investigations. There is now hard evidence that there was election interference by the U.S. intelligence agencies and the Department of Justice.
And let's not forget the voter fraud. Yeah, I said that. Voter fraud. That over 60 judges were informed they might better get rid of these cases, so they kicked him out for lack of standing. If the man running for president doesn't have standing in a lawsuit over voter fraud in their own election, then who the hell does? Also, there were states that sued and tried to present that evidence, and they told the states they didn't have standing. Then who does have standing? Does anybody have standing?
They've got to be terrified, those individuals have to be terrified that a Republican president comes in the 2024 election with a Republican attorney general, investigates them and charges them all with the crimes they've committed over the last 8 years.
Well, we'll see about that. You're right. There are questions around these elections because of this interference. Do you think there will be election interference then in 24?
Take it to the bank. They will absolutely interfere in 2024. Sure how, but they will absolutely interfere, not only because they're not going to like whoever the Republican candidate is, but because they're going to protect their own hides. That's why they were talking to their own people, and the whistleblowers have brought this up, that they were told, don't put anything on paper, just tell us orally. They knew that they were doing stuff wrong. They knew that they were going to be liable for...
Said, take a look at what happened.
And there's been another assassination attempt since then.
Mr. Jordan referenced the Clinton plan intelligence. Exactly what was the Clinton plan?
Based on declassified documents that in the public record, there was intelligence information that was received at virtually the same time that the information came from the Australians. I mean, within a day or two. That intelligence included information that there was a purported plan designed by one of Mrs. Clinton's foreign policy advisors to create a scandal tying Donald Trump to the Russians. That's the essence of the intelligence as contained in the declassified information.
Russia.
Did the president receive this intelligence?
On August 3rd of 2016, then Director Brennan had briefed the President, Vice President, Director of National Intelligence, the FBI, the Attorney General, and others.
When you say the FBI, you mean Mr. Comey?
He had, on August 3rd, it was conducted at the White House. It was Director Comey himself.
So Mr. Comey knew about this. President Obama knew about this. Vice President Biden knew about this. But it wasn't provided to the agents on the case or provided to the secret FISA court. Is that correct?
That's correct.
The Steele dossier was entered in the congressional record. Was it true?
I'm sorry, the Steele
The
dossier.
Steele dossier was entered into our congressional record. Was it true?
There is not a single substantive piece of information in the dossier that has ever been corroborated by the FBI or, to my knowledge, anyone else.
Two real quick questions. Why would the FBI?
How you like that? You know, anytime you talk about any of this stuff, it's all just conspiracy theories. You know, 60 courts threw out the lawsuits because there was no voter fraud. All 60 of those cases were kicked out, saying that the president didn't have standing. The president, the man running in the election, didn't have standing to sue because there was fraud committed during the election. And when they wouldn't hear those cases, then several states sued. The Attorney Generals of several states sued, and they said that the states didn't have standing. Well, if the states, the people voting, and the president, the man running in the election, both of those don't have standing, then who the hell does? Who does? I'd like to know the answer to that. That's the problem. Lawsuits. There's going to have to be criminal cases. And that's why they're freaking out, and there's people trying to assassinate this man. You know it. I know it. We all know it. And God knows it. And they know it. Just saying.